The Merovingian dynasty was a family of Frankish kings who ruled over Dark Age Europe in the 5th century. They were also known as the long-haired kings. There are some rumors that powerful forces out there, including the Vatican, would prefer you never heard of these people. This is because they identified themselves as the direct descendants of Jesus Christ. According to the Merovingians, they were the rightful kings of the world. They believed that Jesus Christ escaped his crucifixion and fled to what is now modern France, previously the Kingdom of Francia. But he didn't escape alone. He went on the run with Mary Magdalene. The two settled there, had children, and those descendants allegedly went on to become the powerful Merovingian kings. Number 9. The dark history of Valentine's Day. Love it or hate it, Valentine's Day is widely regarded as the most romantic day of the year. But the history behind this candy and romance-fueled greeting card holiday is dark and foreboding. From February 13th to February 15th, ancient Romans celebrated Lupercalia. It started with the sacrifice of goats and a dog in honor of the wolf mother who nursed Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. There were special priests who organized this festival known as the Luperci. According to religious studies professor Noel Lenski, the Romans were a bunch of depraved, intoxicated maniacs. But the fun didn't stop there. They also practiced a matchmaking lottery, where the men pulled names of women from a vessel. These couples would be matched up, regardless of if they wanted to or not, for the duration of the festival. The name Valentine comes from the execution of a priest on February 14th in the 3rd century. This man was honored by the Catholic Church as a martyr, but there were several other Christian martyrs also called Valentine. Number 8. The buried city of Selinunte. It was one of the greatest tragedies of ancient times, and it happened in what is now Sicily. Archaeologists recently dug up the buried city of Selinunte, where they say the local inhabitants were slaughtered, and whoever survived was taken as a slave by invaders from North Africa in the 5th century BC. Historians have known about what happened here for a long time, but it wasn't until recently that archaeologists were able to see the evidence with their own eyes. Number 7. The Nephilim. In the book of Genesis, it is described how God created heaven and earth, how Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit. It also tells about the fallen angels known as Nephilim. The book of Genesis claims that when these angels fell from heaven, they wandered the earth as giants. People have always wondered where these Nephilim may have gone if they really did walk the earth. And if they were real creatures, does that mean that giants actually existed? In the text we know as the Book of Enoch, likely written in the 2nd century AD, the story was improved. There was added a tale of 200 angels who plotted to steal the most beautiful wives from the humans. They were called the Watchers, and their desire for human women corrupted the world. After they stole the women, God cast them out of heaven and they became the Nephilim. They were evil and corrupted all of mankind, teaching women charms and enchantments and turning them into witches. They also taught the men how to use metal to create swords and knives for war. Number 6. The Lizard People. The story of the Lizard People underneath Los Angeles goes back 5,000 years to the ancient Hopi people. They claimed that a race of lizard people built 3 giant underground cities along the Pacific coast. One was beneath LA, and the locations of the others were unknown. According to the Hopi legend, these people weren't actually lizards, as in reptilians. They were people who worshipped a lizard. This explains why they had such an affinity with building subterranean cities. Throughout the years, the interpretation of the story has changed dramatically. It went from a race of indigenous people who revered lizards to a literal race of lizard-human hybrids. Number 5. The bloodthirsty Carthaginians. Archaeologists have come across overwhelming evidence that the ancient civilization of Carthage, in what is now North Africa, practiced something atrocious. What's truly amazing about the discovery is that for decades, scholars have adamantly denied that the Carthaginians did this. And yet now, researchers from Oxford University have confirmed that parents in ancient Carthage sacrificed their own children as offerings to the gods. Based on evidence found in cemeteries throughout Carthage, as well as Sicily, Sardinia, and Malta, it really did happen. Number 4. The Secret Revelations of Jesus. In an ancient Egyptian trash dump, archaeologists found what they believe to be the secret revelations of Jesus. It's actually a manuscript from the New Testament that never actually made it into the Bible, called the First Apocalypse of James. The text was likely stashed there around the year 367. after the Bishop of Alexandria, Athanasius, decided which 27 books would be put into the New Testament. This particular story was deemed too heretical to be put into the Bible. It's another great example of how the stories in the Great Book were chosen for inclusion or discarded by powerful people long ago. This story is considered a forbidden text because of the way it portrays Jesus. Whoever wrote it described Jesus as more of a normal human than a Messiah. It's said in the text that Jesus taught people the world they were living in was a prison created by an evil god, as if they were living in some kind of terrible matrix. He said the world was guarded by demonic figures he called archons. Number 3. Royal eunuchs. In imperial China, the emperor kept a huge harem of women. We already know that the ancient rulers of China had large groups of kept women at their disposal for both pleasure and procreation. But what a lot of people don't know is that there was a hierarchy inside every emperor's harem. The lady on top was the official wife, or the empress. During the Ming Dynasty, between 1368 and 1644, every emperor held a ceremony in the Forbidden City, in which he would choose all his favorite girls aged between 14 and 16. These girls were basically slaves. The emperor also had a small army of eunuchs to take care of his hundreds and hundreds of female slaves. Because ordinary men were not allowed anywhere near them, the emperor would have thousands of servants be castrated so that they held no threat to his treasured consorts and concubines. They would live in the harem, taking care of everyone's needs. Number 2. Devil worship in the Middle Ages. Scholars believe the whole idea of devil worship may have been fabricated by the church itself. After the disintegration of Rome and pagan ideology, Christianity swept across Europe, but it likely didn't penetrate some of the more rural areas for hundreds of years. Obviously, the church didn't like this. It's been suggested that in order to have Christianity fully adopted by every last citizen in Europe, they created a common villain. To control pockets of people they viewed as heretics, and to maintain their control, they came up with devil worship. They accused people, hunted down people they said were involved, and through these efforts, paganism was completely abolished. The church cemented their influence over the land, their influence lasting even today. Number 1. The Necronomicon. The Necronomicon is arguably the most nefarious book ever, but it never existed. This book was created by H.P. Lovecraft in his stories of cosmic terror. It then became even more famous when it was used in the Evil Dead movie to summon terrible demons.